Hello everybody, I'm Shadows Rain and you are awesome, and in today's video we are going to be going through 16 tips to take you to the next level in Warzone. These are all Warzone specific tips. They will be highlighted in blue if they will work in multiplayer as well, and they'll be highlighted in green if they will get you killed in multiplayer. So with that being said, let's get right on with the video. So the first thing that you're going to want to do here is use gunfire to mask your footsteps. Gunfire, even when suppressed, is still very loud for the person firing the weapon. Now, they won't be able to hear much else going on when they're walking, so if you're trying to sneak up on them, or you don't have a dead silence and you're crouch walking upstairs, that's when you start sprinting. You hear them firing an LMG or an AR, you sprint your heart's content, and when they stop firing, or you're expecting them to stop firing soon, you stop your sprinting and stop crouch walking again, and you'll find this is a really good way to close the distance on someone without even knowing that they're there. Really good for those who are trying to third party in their gameplays. Second is dodge and know when snipers aren't gods. This one's a really helpful one. Sometimes you've got to trust that the enemy is bad, sometimes you've got to trust that they're really good. You'll have a very good indication based on the first couple of shots they fire. If they fire 2 or 3 shots, they've not hit anything, then they aren't gods, and you can be a bit more aggressive and see if you can punish them for missing their shots a little bit more depending on their range. Also, what you can do as well is if you do know that they're very good, see what you can do to actually counter that, so throw smokes down or try to suppress fire them. But yeah, know what you're up against when you're going up against a sniper. This helps massively. If you have confidence that they're going to miss shots, you know you and your team can be more aggressive. If they're hitting people, even if they're not hitting heads, they're hitting arms or legs, you know, so you're using like a plate or two every time you get hit, you know that they can hit you, so just respect that. Play around your equipment. So by that, I mean if you've got stuns and explosives, try and force people into corners, trying to force people to the other side. So for example, in the Gulag, if you know someone's on one side of the bus, throw a Semtex to the right side of the bus and wait for them to expose themselves on the left side of the bus. This is what I mean by play around your equipment. So don't exactly go running in gun-ho at somebody if you've only got, say, a C4. That's not going to help you out massively. Likewise, if you do have something like a throwing knife, you do have extra damage melee. So if you do have a pistol in hand, might be worth running up to them and slicing a bit with that throwing knife. So just play around your equipment. So likewise, stuns. If you know that there's people in the house, use them stuns. Make sure your playstyle is dictated by what equipment you have handy. If you are going to camp inside a house, make sure you got yourself a trophy system set up in there, or at the very least a deployable cover. Those two items are rarely picked up, usually at the bottom of everyone's priorities, but are really, really, really powerful for controlling an engagement indoors. Likewise, other bits of equipment are really good for controlling engagements outdoors, such as, again, that deployable cover and other things. So yes, play around what equipment you have and your KD will start going up. Number 4 on the list kind of builds around playing your equipment is to control your engagement, and you can do this by following number 3 as well. So I am going to simplify this into 4 different areas. So the first one is attacking, defending, rotating, and I would say area denial as mentioned previously with the grenades. So when attacking, make sure you are in control of the situation, make sure you know where you're exposed to when you're attacking, and make sure you have a pretty good idea where they're hiding. If you have the tracker perk on, you are at a massive advantage already when you choose to attack. If you're going to defend something, make sure you've got an angle completely covered, make sure you've got it locked down, make sure you've got your shotgun or your SMG out, ready for that high damage up close. The next one would be rotate, so know when you need to rotate. So if you know that you need to be somewhere else in this fight, make sure you're throwing stuns at them or smokes at them so you can get to wherever you need to be. Ground is crucial in Warzone. Where you are is single-handedly one of the most important things. It is just as good as your gunplay, and if you're in the wrong place and at the wrong time, you are going to get punished. So make sure you're putting them in the position to knock themselves out in the open. And likewise, like we said earlier, you can throw grenades at them if they're hiding behind a boxes or a car. Throw a grenade or a thermite behind the car and force them to expose themselves. If you're also stuck and you're the one stuck behind a car or whatever, throw yourself that smoke down, give yourself some cover and get out of there. So yeah, just understanding when and how to control your engagement is massive. So any high ground that you can take, make sure you have that high ground. And even before you get into a fight, don't just have a pot shot at someone the second you see them. If you can, try and find out where the rest of their team is, or try to get yourself in a position where you know you can drop them quick. And this way, you're going to have a massive advantage for the following team fight, with the other team being a man down. The next on the list is going to be use loadout drops inside. Now, a lot of the time when people are exposed getting loadout drops, because they plant them in the open, somewhere where it's definitely not going to get stuck on a roof. This is a very easy shot for a sniper, and people will literally camp you out and wait until you're all exposed. Now, nothing worse than just dropping 10 grand on a loadout box for you to not be able to use it, to gulag, to come back and to find that they're still camping it. One of the best things you can do with a loadout drop is actually put it on a roof. Now, a lot of the buildings will actually let you access a loadout drop through walls. So if you pop that on top of a roof, you can access it. Now, sometimes you gotta stand on top of a table, that's absolutely fine, but throw it indoors and you can get yourself on top of a desk and able to be accessing that loadout drop from the safety of a building. Really, really, really top tip on that one, guys. Try it out. What you tend to need to make sure is that there's at least enough space to fit someone crouched. So if you reckon that if you were on top of yourself while crouching, if you weren't touching that box, you probably won't be able to access the loadout drop. So long as you can put a little bit, as long as you can close that gap and get close to the roof, and the loadout drops on top of the roof, really good. So if it's a flat roof, it's going to work out an absolute treat for you. If it's a triangular roof, like you know, like a I don't know what you want to call it, like a hedge roof, like a triangular roof, then yes, that's not going to work as well for you. But yeah, flat roof, slap it indoors, and you'll find that you die a lot less. A lot of things about getting a good KD in Warzone, it's not necessarily about getting high kills, it's about minimizing your deaths as well. And this is certainly a tip that you can do to minimize those deaths. The next one on the list is going to be about damage limitation. Now, this one is based on you knowing that you're going to do something utterly stupid. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing something stupid so long as you know the risks involved and you're happy to go for it. I mean, hell, some of our best plays as the A1A have been from what we would usually call silly ideas. So, yeah. So if you know you're going to be doing something risky and you're going to be doing it by yourself, make sure you drop your money, make sure you drop any plates that you're not going to need, and make sure that your team has that. So, especially if you're carrying like 5 or 6 grand, drop that, get your teammates picking it up, and do what you gotta do. If you die, they can just res you back with the money you just dropped for them. Otherwise, you're just giving the team free assets. So if I know that I'm going to be attacking a team, and I've got, say, 8 plates, I'm going to drop 5 of them, and I'm going to go run in there with a free spare if I know it's going to be a one-way trip. Or if I know that I'm only going to have time to armor up once, if I do get time at all. So yeah, just drop down your assets when you know you're going to be doing something risky. Now what this does, it protects your team. Now say you manage to drop somebody and you're carrying 9 grand or whatever it is, and someone drops you. Well, guess what? They've just rezzed their friend, and they've got 5 grand extra to show for it, which is putting your team at a massive disadvantage, because now your team are 9 grand down or whatever it is, and they're also a man down. So the man that you killed as a result now counts for nothing, especially if it's near a shop. So yeah, just bear that in mind when you're taking these fights, and make sure you're not giving the enemy team anything else. Now, this is quite toxic behavior, but if I know I'm going to die, then I will just try and thirst the kid that I've already downed. That way, it's at least going to be a 3v3 or a 2v2 or a 1v1. Yeah, so, you know, if you know that you're going to kick the bucket, get them killed. And the next one that we've started being doing lately here at the A1A is baiting the downs. Now, the trick to this is to basically, if you've got a teammate down and you know that the team's thirsty, to be fair, more often than not they are, bait that down. Let them come running in, and then pop them when they think that it's safe to get a kill. People are at their most vulnerable when they're at their strongest point as well, I believe. So if people are that gung-ho, that first, yes, I've got a kill, I've knocked him, I'm awesome, let's finish the kill off, and they'll tend to drop their guard. It's actually amazing how often this happens. You might think I'm chatting absolute shit, but it actually does happen. People, once they've knocked someone and they're about to finish, they completely drop their guard and they usually set themselves up for easy kills and put themselves in positions where they're really easy to kill. And also what you can do to bait reses is pop the res. Now, by pop the res, I mean just start the res only for a second or two. They'll hear the resin animation sound. and then they're going to push, thinking that they're going to get 2 kills, and again, they're going to completely drop their guard. They're going to come in proper thirsty, thinking that they're going to get another easy kill, and they are going to be absolutely bemused when they're shotgunned right in the face. Pop the res for a second, pull out your shotgun, pull out whatever you're going to pull out, and absolutely hammer them when they come to finish you off. Also, a good thing to note on the flip side of this as well is to know when you're being baited. So if you've dropped somebody and you know there's a second one there, do not be tempted to go and run around that corner and expose yourself. If they get rezzed, they get rezzed. It's fine. You can kill them again. They'll be a lot weaker, and you're going to have a big window as well. Remember, when someone gets rezzed, for a good 5 or 6 seconds, they're only going to have 30 health. Now, I think it's 30 health or 25 health. Either way, they're one shot with most weapons. Most ARs, submachine guns will one-tap them. You're going to be absolutely fine to finish them off there. So don't worry about them getting the res off. If they must, just don't expose yourself. Know when they're baiting that res. And if they are baiting that res, if you hear that needle noise, odds are, if they're baiting it, they're not going to fully go ahead. So the trick is, if you hear the res a second time or a third time, that's when they're actually going to be doing it for real and calling your bluff. Now, don't go running in and exposing yourself to a silly position, because that is going to get you killed. Just play it cool, play it calm. You know, if you're down someone and you think you're getting baited, just chuck a stun in there, chuck a flashbang in there, chuck anything in there just to put the pressure on. Especially if you get that grenade in there, because then you can take health off them, which cuts their time down dramatically to get res. And that time, you know, if they do pull off a res, they're going to be more likely to actually stick with it. So yeah, know when you're being baited and bait yourself whenever possible. Next on our list is just going to be about resource management. It's going to be managing your money. So I call this bucket money. Now, bucket money is just a referral to making sure that not one person on your team has all the resources at any one time. So if you've got someone on the team, let's say it's duos, and they've got 10 grand and you've got literally nothing, spread that out to 5 grand each. That way, if one of yours gets downed, you've only lost half your assets as opposed to all of your assets if that one person does kick the bucket, hence bucket money. This also ensures that you more often than not have money for reses, and often means that you can get people in the fight as quickly as possible. If you lose someone who's carrying 10 grand and they're away from the team, say behind a different bit of cover or behind a different wall, their money is one. It's a lot of that's been taken off them, not because it's been picked up, but because you do not retain all the money that's dropped. If I drop 10 grand, it's only going to be 7 or 8 that's dropped, and the other 2 or 3 grand is going to be with the person in the gulag. That's not the exact ratio it breaks down as, but you get the point. You want to keep bucket money. It really, really, really helps, and this will be noticeable in your games. You do not want to be the last alive with no money when someone died with 10 grand. Next is use your environment to your advantage. Now, by this, I mean any bit of cover that you have, anything that you can use it to your advantage. Any high ground, the slightest bit high ground, use that to your advantage, but also low ground as well. Low ground can be used to your advantage too if played properly. This can be done by when people pop up. If you know that they can only expose themselves to a certain angle, more often than not, you can actually get a few heavy bits of damage into their head, as that's usually what's exposing themselves. Low ground's good for hiding, high ground's good for dominating a position. Just use your environment to your advantage, you know. So if you're in a building and there's only 2 ways into it, again, use area denial. Put your thermite or your semtex down at one end, force them into another end of the building if they want to be inside there. If you've got little bits of thin cover, try shooting through the cover to see if you can actually get any damage off on your enemy. Use heavy cover to be away from snipers. So if you know that you're in a 2v3 situation, or let's just say a 1v3 situation, use your cover to only isolate yourself to one person at a time. This is critical for team fighting by yourself or duos or whatever. Now, this is going to be simple. If you know where roughly most of them are, or all of them preferably, you can make sure that you're only exposed to one angle to one person at a time, and that way you can pick them off one by one. When you get into the habit of doing this, team fights become so much easier for you, and it actually gets to the point where sometimes you even prefer being 2v1 or 3v1. Because you do that when you're in that kind of habit, it actually makes some fights easier than if you did have a full team. So, yeah, just bear that in mind. Always use your environment to your advantage, be it the hills, be it the trees, be it cover, be it anything at all. Use it and you will notice a significant improvement in your gun plays and your percentages of winning them. Next on your list is play without fear, play without anxiety. If you're going into a fight scared to lose it, you've already lost it, so nothing to lose. Especially if you follow the other tips as we've mentioned below there. Make sure you're not going to lose too many assets. Make sure that if you do die, the team can bring you back. But yeah, do not play with fear or anxiety, because you, like I say, you will lose the fight, and you lose the fight because you go in there scared. If you go in there scared, you will lose it, because you won't be at your best. You'll be spending your time subconsciously trying not to die instead of trying to get kills, and that is not going to help you at all. Go in there without fear. Go in there wanting to absolutely slap everyone. Go in there to be adventurous. Go in there with the attitude that if you die, you die. But if you pull this off, it will be epic. And if you get yourself in that habit, you are going to be in for an absolute treat in your games of Warzone. So, yeah, the best way I do this is... it's just let your team know what you're going to play. Let your team know beforehand. Like, look, I'm going to be trying to do this. I'm going to be trying to do that. And that will happen. And that does lead us on to our next tip, which is constant communication and constant pinging. So always be talking to each other. Always have pings. Never, ever, ever say, oh, he's on me here, or he's there. We don't know where you're looking. We don't know what you're doing. Sometimes we don't even know where you are. It's always best to ping. If you can get a ping off, brilliant. If you're seeing an enemy shooting at the tree and you're in a part of like the map where there's loads of trees, I'm sorry, but that's not very helpful. It's like trying to find a cup of water in the sea. Impossible. If you do manage to get a ping off, this will dramatically, and I mean dramatically, increase the odds of winning the fight. And you might think that that sounds stupid, but I'm being for real. If you can get a ping off on whoever you're shooting, everyone knows exactly where they are, their exact location, and people can use the cover to make sure they peek it and kill them exactly at the right time, and with exposing themselves to as little things as possible. So yeah, always be talking, always be pinging, and you will win a lot more gunfights. Some people are quiet, that's absolutely fine, I get that, but make sure that they're at least pinging and just saying, I've pinged one, but there's two there. So silly things like that. I've pinged one, he's a sniper. I've pinged one, he's got a shotgun. If you're hearing a shotgun in a team fight which is trying a third party, make sure people know that they have a shotgun. Just constant communication so people know what's going on. Also, get into the habit as well of saying heard that, or yep, or you know what, when someone's saying something, give them an audio cue, let them know that you've heard what they're saying, and that also will help you out dramatically as well. So yeah. Next tip on the list, this sounds pretty straightforward, but you would be amazed how many times people forget to do it, or people think, oh, I'll do it later. Plate. 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 You must play it whenever you can, even if it is in the middle of a team fight. Plates are so important. They're worth 50 health. Each plate is worth half of your normal health, and you can have 3 of them. That means you can have 150% health in plates if you keep on top of it. The amount of fights that I've won where I've only had 1 HP left has been disgusting. Plate where you can. A lot of guns will kill you in 3 shots if you do not plate. Going from 3 shots to kill you to, say, 9, 10, massive, massive difference. And make sure that you're doing that. Now, I say 9, 10 because a lot of the time they'll hit your chest and then they'll start shooting your arms by mistake. That's when mistakes start to happen. So you can actually really start punishing the enemy if you've got 3 plates. Of course, if they've got 3 plates as well, keep at it. But yeah, resource management is crucial here. If you know that they've got no plates, punish them. Push that advantage. If you know for a fine fact you have time to plate up, you must do it. You absolutely must do it. Especially since a lot of sniper rifles' base damage is around the 140 area. If that is the case and you only have 1 plate equipped, you are likely to die. Especially if it's like, say, they get a 151 hit on you or a 152, that would kill you. If you have 149 damage, sorry, if the sniper does 149 damage and you have a plate equipped, you have 150 damage to take, you have 1 health spare, and that can be the difference between winning a team fight and almost clutching but whiffing it. So yeah, always plate. Always. Like, seriously. Next on the list is always have an objective or destination. This is because it keeps you alert. If you don't have an objective and you're just wandering around the map, you're going to get picked off. You're going to lose somebody. Something's going to happen. And you're going to find yourself just daydreaming, sleepwalking into a bad position, into a place where someone engages on you and you're like, oh crap, where are we? What are we doing here? You know, always have an objective. If it's a shop, brilliant. If it's a building, brilliant. If it's holding a building, fair enough. I know I don't like campers, but let's admit, people do it. If holding the building's your objective, cool. So make sure you always have an objective in mind, and you will be staying alert. It helps keep you alert, and you're more likely to actually see people roaming about when you have an objective yourself, as opposed to just wandering around the map hoping to find someone. Always have an objective. Even if your objective is to find someone, then, you know, your objective is to basically go to a shop, pop a UAV, head towards a dot on the map, you know, head towards gunfire. As long as you have an objective, it will keep you alert, and it will keep your team alive a little bit longer than what it would be if you were just wandering around the map. Next on the list is always be moving. Now, even if you are camping a building and you're peering out a window, make sure you're just shimmying left to right. We call this AD strafing on the PC side. Just make sure you're always moving ever so slightly. That makes you so much harder to hit from snipers and everyone else. If people are trying to get a one hit on you, it's so much harder to hit, and they're more likely to miss if you're constantly moving on the spot. Now, this is really important. The amount of times I've dodged bullets just by moving or just dipping slightly, you know, even if it's just crouching and standing back up again. Just keep yourself moving, even when you're sniping, ever so slightly, and you will find that you are more likely or not going to have people missing shots on you where they otherwise would have dropped you. Can't emphasize the importance on this one enough. You must always be moving. The same when you're in an actual gunfight as well. Try and keep it moving. This is why a lot of the top players are using attachments which speed up aim down sight speed and aiming mobility. This is because you want to be keeping yourself moving and keep yourself a hard target to hit. This is why you see people jump shotting. This is why you see people drop shotting, ironically, into a jump shot, or jump shotting into a drop shot. This is why you see all this happening, because people know that the best way to avoid taking damage is to make sure that people are missing their shots on you. And yeah, that's one of the ways to do it. So always, always be moving. Next on your list is to be humble and know when you are beat. Are you a team of snipers and ARs going up against, in a building, teams with shotguns and SMGs? Know that you're beat. Don't take the fight. Pull out the fight whenever you can. Disengage from that fight. Or is it the other way around? Are you the kids with the shotguns and the ARs, and the other team have snipers and they're hitting you at range and you're trying to take the fight with ARs? Know when you're beat. Sometimes, you know, if you've lost loads of plates across the team and you've barely hit a bullet on them, pull out that fight. It's no harm. You don't have to go for someone toe to toe when they have the better equipment at that range that they're suited to. And the reason I say this is because there's nothing wrong in knowing when you beat. It keeps you alive. It keeps that KD up because you're reducing the deaths, even if you're not getting the kills. And yeah, it's a massive, massive, massive thing to know when you beat. So say for example, if you're in a 3v3 and you've lost a man, no one on your team has plates, and it was a 1v1 where you lost your teammate. That means two of those people have still got full armor. One of them may even be cracked, but probably has an opportunity to stock up himself. Know when you beat, pull out of the fight if you can, and you will win more fights, because that means you can regroup. And like I say, if you follow the other tips where you control your engagement, you play around your environment, you play around your equipment, you can win this fight if you make it suit you. Regroup, go again. But yeah, this is how you can improve your KD quite a lot. It's just knowing when you beat. You don't have to take every fight gun-ho. If you realize you're losing that fight, pull out, go again. And second to last on the list is move out of your comfort zone. If you are in your comfort zone, you are never going to improve as a player, and if you do need to improve your KD, you are going to need to move out your comfort zone. This might mean that your KD does get a little bit of a beating at first, but if it gets you in good habits to improve your KD in the long run, absolutely worth it. So I was never comfortable on SMGs or shotguns. I always like the security of being able to take a fight at range, so I always rocked a sniper AR, and ever since I pushed myself out of my comfort zone, I have improved quite a lot as a player. That's for me personally. That's for everyone else in the A1A as well. Some people who never use snipers now use sniper rifles. Their KDs have went up. Some people like me who always use sniper rifles and never use shotguns, their KDs have went up. People who always like to invite pressure and wait for teams to come to them. and now are starting to actually go out and attack people. Their KDs have gone up. Every single one of their KDs went down a little bit initially when they were getting the hang of it, and then it started spiraling up because it means that you're more adaptable to situations. If someone starts attacking you at range, you know how to do it. Someone starts attacking you up close, you know how to do it. Nothing can surprise you when you practice everything and you are out of your comfort zone all the time, because what happens is when you move yourself out of your comfort zone, those things start to become your comfort zone, and then you start to really start growing from there. So frequently move out of your comfort zone. The last one on this list, and this is probably the most important one considering the win percentage that the majority of people have in this game, is embrace your mistakes. This is a big one, because when you embrace your mistakes, you're not bothered about making them. And when you're not bothered about making these mistakes, you will make more mistakes and you will learn from them. The best way to learn is from failure. And failure, to acknowledge that, is it sets you up for doom, in my opinion. Now, this is a game where you typically will have between a 3 and 7% win rate on Warzone. That means for 97 to 93% of the time, you are going to be losing games, and you are going to be, losing, as I said. And that means usually a mistake's being made in a gunfight, or a miscalculation is being made, or something's gone against you. But maybe something happened that put you in that position. Maybe a mistake led to you being where the wrong side of the building and gas was. So embrace your mistakes. Think, oh, yeah, I really messed up that gunfight, but next time I'll kill him. Or, oh, I was caught in low ground here. Next time I'll be on the high ground. Or, oh, I was caught in rotation that time. Next time I'll make sure I've got smoke. Or next time I'll make sure that I make that rotation earlier. Or next time I'll be expecting the players there. Just learn from your mistakes, embrace them, and be happy when you make them, because then you learn something from them. If you learn from a mistake, it is not a failure. Failure is only once you've made the mistake and you learn nothing from it. That is failure. Failure is not learning. Learning is success, and in order to learn, you have to make mistakes. So embrace that in your game and embrace that in your life as well, and you will be a much happier person. So with that all being said, that is the end of the video. Another long one. I know that this is another 3 days without an upload. I do apologize. Like I say, I'm going for the quality over quantity approach, but I am uploading as regularly and streaming as regularly as I can. I am working in an office again, so I can't just edit stuff from home while I'm actually working, so lol. But yeah, I hope you do enjoy the video, guys, and if you do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until then, I'm Shadows Rain, you're awesome, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.